No, let's play.
Oh, thank you, Dan. Appreciate.
Okay. Father God, we come before you this morning. We pray that as we progress with our training today, which is a continuation of what we started yesterday, be with us, be with our trainer, open our hearts and mind and ears so that we're able to listen and we're able to learn. As we interact with one another, be together with us. Be together with us even after the training and always. We thank you, we glorify your name. We pray, believing and trusting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate. So very warm welcome to everyone who is joining. I'd like us to recap yesterday's training so that we see what we took away, what was helpful to us, and if there are any questions that you thought about after the training, I'd like us to have those asked so that we can start. So a recap of yesterday's training. What were the highlights? What did you learn? What did you take away? Very happy to hear those recaps. We started with a definition of collaboration management. We looked at some of the techniques that can be used by management. We talked about management by objective, how important it is in collaboration management, because management by objectives sets the pace of how performance management is actually mainstreamed in the organization. And we know that the time someone spends in an organization, it's all about managing their performance in many, many ways. I'm waiting for people. Please feel free to unmute yourself. We saw the advantages. We gave some good examples. People had shared good experiences around the area of collaboration management. We talked about some of the features. We also looked at structured and unstructured collaboration management. And we moved on pretty good, pretty well. And we also had some questions to see, to reflect back on ourselves, how good we are as collaborators, either working, or if we are managing a team, whether we are managing them well, and even for our own selves to see how collaborative am I as an individual when I'm looking out at expanding my networks, gaining more knowledge. Yeah, so anybody before, just a recap, what you took away? And we also challenged you and gave you some bit of homework around just thinking about whether you're a good collaborator. If you're not, then what can you start doing? We also looked at leadership and some of the very traditional ways of leadership, not necessarily leadership styles, but around the area of power, around the area of idea generation, information, problem solving, rules, how, and all these aspects are how organizations are governed and how we go along. Resolving issues, ability to get feedback, very important. I love the topic of feedback. We can spend a whole morning on discussing feedback. Yeah. I open the floor, please feel free to unmute yourself. Even then, just say good morning and what you plan to take away from this webinar today.
Good morning, Catherine.
Morning, Juvi.
Okay, talking about feedback and the takeaway, I wrote it on the in the chat yesterday. That my key takeaway or what I liked was the soliciting of feedback, because I think it takes a lot of courage to ask for feedback, see how you can improve, what are the things you can focus on to really be able to collaborate in the best way possible. Because if you really want to be relevant to your team, to collaborate, I mean, very well, it means that you are focused on what you are doing best, what you are doing well, what you are weak at. So I thought it's very good for myself and for other people to be ready to ask, as you were saying, no, how am I doing? I think it's very hard to ask someone because you have to be ready to be told. Well, I think for those giving feedback, it should be, what you're doing well. And then really, even though the list of what we are not doing well is longer than what we are doing better, no? So it's good. It's good. I like it very much. And I hope to, I don't know, to be daring myself to ask. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. It takes brevity and it takes courage to solicit for feedback and be able to take that feedback with grace. We always told that feedback is a gift. So yeah, some gifts, we get some gifts and we are not too happy with the gifts, but we must be able to go back and solicit for feedback. Yeah. Thank you, Juvi. That was really good insights and takeaway. Someone else? Anyone? Really highlights of yesterday, what you learned, what you took away, what you could implement at your place of work or at the marketplace. And when I say marketplace, could be at your business, could be in the society, wherever that you give, you are able to make a change, or you are called upon to take up a certain responsibility or at a task at hand. Anyone? Anybody else? Anybody else? Anyone? Wanja, Irene, Eunice, Sabrina, welcome. Sarah, Kipton Poo. Do I pronounce your name correct?
Hi, this is Irene.
Hi.
Hi, no, sorry, I wasn't in yesterday, so I've just logged in today.
It's a bit low from your end.
Okay. Yeah. So I wasn't in yesterday, unfortunately.
Okay.
So I'm actually just logging in today for about an hour because I have another meeting for Nema in the office. So this is an opportunity to just get the nuggets you have for today. So I'm looking forward to getting something within the next hour or so. But I always love your trainings, by the way. I love your training. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the compliment. It's all enabled by putting the really great courses by ACHRP. They make a lot of effort to do that. So thank you. Welcome. And the notes will be there. They are available. And also, if you are not in yesterday, don't worry too much. It's continuation. And the recording was there. So you can always follow through when you read, listen to the recordings. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so
can I say something?
Yeah.
Yeah. We learned about management, not management, but collaboration management, the objective. And I think my most takeaway, it's something that is there that happens, but my most takeaway is that this encourages the personnel to commit themselves to the objectives or the achievements of the organization. So as opposed to the normal routines that you come to work and take instructions and do what your superior wants. Yeah. Once you work with an objective, then it goes hand in hand, like you said, with the performance management. Yeah. And as for HRs, it becomes easier for their work at the end of the reviews, the rewards, and so forth.
Okay, very true. And what I like that, Wanja, what you're saying is around, if we embrace collaboration at all levels in an organization, we have this beautiful, and let me just call it beautiful, we have this opportunity and beautiful chances of us really working together and forging strong networks and a strong team, synergizing, people understanding what is there, and really looking at the objectives. And I don't have to think, oh my gosh, now who is this? Do I really want to go there this morning? But it really gives us a good opportunity for us to be able to do that. So I'm happy with that, we see collaboration as a real key, strong pillar for people being able to work together, open communication when we know that we are capable of really achieving much more when we communicate, and we communicate authentically, and we communicate with vulnerability. I don't know, I don't know everything, in fact, I just keep saying, well, I facilitate, I love training, but based on that, I'm sure there are many people who know much more, even in this area of collaboration, good experiences. So that's why I keep on saying, let's share, let's learn, and make sure that we are moving on in the right direction. Great. Someone else before we start our training? I will bring up my slides now. Allow me just to bring it, my slides. If you see them, share. So today we'll be focusing on some of the tools that we can use to collaborate. You can see my screen. You can see my screen.
Yes, we can. I liked the way one of us said yesterday that collaboration is now replaced with teamwork. The word teamwork, So it's interesting.
Yeah, true. Teamwork, yeah. So collaboration, where we can talk, we can whatever. So yesterday, are you a collaborative leader? Did you call yourself to a meeting for a few minutes before we all looked at Yatani and said, what did you just do, to the budget and stuff like that, and unpacking it? And I've seen some good summary of the budgets going around on all these social media platforms that we are in, and some really do border on HR, on people. So if we need to be cognizant of that some of the changes, and start implementing and just start thinking as an organization. So that's really something that needs to, we can't live in isolation. We have to be all around and say what's happening in the country, in the economic field, and how do we plug ourselves in. So collaborative leader, that's what, let me just put this on slideshow. Great. So did you feel that you are a collaborative leader, or you can work towards that? One of the things I like about human beings is that we have all these good intentions, very good intentions. Everybody, as a human being, we are wired to have good intentions until the world changes us. Either the experiences that we get as during our journey of life. Some people are very unfair to others, and you just think, well, when I get another opportunity for me to be unfair to another person, then I will be. And sometimes you become who you are not. And that's why I keep on saying it's important to have a coach. It's important to have a mentor, so that you're able to bounce back these ideas and say, well, I went through this experience. I don't think, and it's making me become who I am not. So how do I really get myself to be who I am? And I know that I'm a good human being, and that's what it is. That everybody has their key strengths, and they capitalize on them, and then the other little problems that we have can be corrected as we go along, and not make it the other way around, that your weaknesses become who you are, and your strong points, they become weak. Zinaanza kufifia huko. Allow me to use that word. Okay, great. So let's collaborative approaches in problem solving. So we'll look at some of the approaches. We will discuss them. We will talk about change management today. We will talk about conflict management, all in the area of collaboration, and how we can take some of those and turn them into strengths as we actualize our strategies in the organization, as we work with teams, as we manage teams, and also as we expect people and we encourage people from the lower cadre, like what we said yesterday, to also be able to speak up and be able to give input without thinking, oh, well, my position doesn't warrant me to do anything. Let me just drive the bus and do my best and then go home in the evening. Everybody has a big role to play, and a big role to play means that we also give some input from time to time. Have you ever seen people who are so quiet? They have a very introverted nature, and in meetings they never speak, but when they are told to speak, they always have very good points. And leaders need to find out, and be keen to find out the personalities of everybody in your team, so that you really have a good opportunity to make sure that you don't miss out anyone. And of course, in a meeting, you say, well, Catherine, could you give us your input? Or even before the meeting, you let them know that I will ask you to give a lot of input in this meeting because I know that you are the expert. So when I pick up on you, please make sure that you speak up. So set the pace, help people along the way that, people with different personalities, the ones who are always talking, you tell them, when we go to that meeting today, just give us 5 points, don't dominate the meeting too much, in a nice way. We know that those strong points, have your strong points and pick them very meticulously for us not to lose anything important that will be telling us. Try and balance the teams, but don't embarrass people when it's in public. We need to make sure that people feel comfortable. So it's important. Nowadays, that's what we want to do. Have your meeting, set the agenda pretty clear, and let people know where they will be plugging in. Okay, so the collaborative problem solving model demonstrates effectiveness with employees with a wide range of professional, socio-economic, emotional, and behavioral challenges across a variety of different settings, from various consumers, clients, team leaders, and team members in the company. So collaborative problem solving model, it just demonstrates, how do we solve problems in this organization? The effectiveness of employees from a wide range, from professionals, and then we come with our own social things that we enjoy to do. We are emotional when maybe your cat gets lost, and mine, I really don't care about cats and pests, and I say, oh, it's just a cat that got lost. And you're thinking, really? You invalidate my feelings. No. Okay, fine. Your cat got lost. Can we go and look for it? If we don't find it, can we buy you another one? People come with various emotional challenges, and which you think that that's a small little thing to weigh you down. No. Some people attach to things that you think that are not important to you. So we should always remember, we should not invalidate people's feelings, and behavioral challenges. We know that there are many behavioral challenges that we can face, and we should try and change at the workplace across a variety of different settings, from various consumers. Your consumers will determine how you run your business, no doubt. Clients, team leaders, and team members in the company. So it's the whole value chain. Everybody is involved here, from who we are, our talents, our expertise, our experience of what it is. So that's how it is. So collaborative approach in problem solving, as applied in the organization, the model sets forth 2 major tenets. So the first, the collaborative approach analyzes the root cause of the issue and the bugs present, rather than merely pointing out the mistakes. And then the second, these issues and problems are resolved after mutual discussion, where everybody speaks, everybody listens, rather than showing superiority and trying to dominate. So our collaborative approach, problem solving analysis, it's rather obvious, and it's rather, it's norm. But most of the time, is it the norm? No. People make decisions in the boardroom and come and tell us what it is. So I'd like us to focus on the first, the collaborative approach analysis is the root cause of the issue, and the bugs present rather than merely pointing out the mistakes. Can we give an example of this? Anyone who can think of an example? Analyzes the root cause of the issue and the bugs present. collaborative problem-solving model. This is the model where we first analyze the root cause of the issue. For example, what would be a problem at the workplace? Anything that would be the problem, a real problem that we need to make sure that we can analyze. Anyone? Anyone who's able to give me that? Anyone who's able to?
Absenteeism.
Thank you. So we have a problem of absenteeism at the place of work. So many a times is what will we do? As a cross line, you're always absent, Catherine, you're always absent. This department, people don't, there is a trend of people on Friday, they leave at 2 instead of 5, and then Monday, they never come to work. We've seen a pattern. That's a good example. What is our first call of action compared to resolved after mutual discussion? As a business, what are we very quick to do? Sabrina, would you like to continue?
Okay, as I know, what we are supposed to do is find out why it's a trend, but normally we are quick to like give letters. Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we are always quick to punish, warning letters, all that, but we're supposed to find out why. Some people, like if you find out in an organization or a department, you find out it's the lack of engagement, lack of motivation within the environment. The environment not conducive, so they end up disengaging themselves from the organization. So they just come the time they want.
So it's very true. So it could be a problem and you don't go to the root cause of the problem. You analyze the issue. Why are people coming late here? And because they're not motivated, maybe their supervisor also comes in the afternoon. So then they say, well, we can walk in at 11, another one 11:30. They don't have the resources to be able to carry out the work. There could be many problems. But you know what we do? We need people, guys, we need to move from punishment to disciplinary, and of course there are consequences. I'm not saying that we don't have consequences, but before even we met out the consequences, the issue needs to be resolved after mutual discussion. So we'll be discussing with who? Where everybody speaks and everybody listens rather than showing superiority and trying to dominate. So who would be the stakeholders in this scenario of absenteeism? Anyone else? Please feel free to unmute.
I think the stakeholders will be the line manager and the employee.
And the employee, yeah, very true. And what kind of discussions would they be having? Let's paint the scenario. Let's try and do a role play.
Well, in the event of the line manager will be having the discussion with the staff of what's happening, why they are frequently absenting themselves from work. And now after the discussion, they will understand where the problem is. Is it in the work environment? Is it home? And then they try to solve the situation.
Exactly, yeah. So not just trying to assume that whatever, I like what Eunice, what you have said. Is it the work environment? Is it the home environment? It's very important to give people the opportunity to say exactly what is happening. And you can only be able to say what is happening to you if you have collaboration in the organization. If your environment does not allow and encourage a collaboration, you will never know why I'm coming late. I could be having such dire needs at home that I can't even share because I don't trust this environment. The culture is not just the culture of collaboration. Nobody cares, it's the carrot and the stick. And unfortunately, then that's it. You know, it comes to such a time, I'm so stressed to a point of thinking, I'd rather leave this job because they will not, even if I tell them, they will never understand. So it's important to use collaboration as one of your key tools to drive communication and try and resolve issues after mutual discussions, you know. And sometimes you can just find, well, I wake up late. You know, some people will just say, let me tell you, boss, I wake up late. And then I have to jump through the traffic and stuff like that, you know, and just say, well, I'll give you a verbal warning. You better wake up early. And, you know, even a good boss will say, you better start sleeping a bit earlier than what it is. I mean, it's not acceptable. I don't know who will ever come and say, well, I sleep at 1 o'clock and maybe I have insomnia, you know, and or maybe I just
Have we lost Catherine, or am I the only one? Perhaps my own connection is not good.
I can't hear Catherine also.
Okay,
Yeah, I
thank
think
you.
All of us.
Let's just wait for her, no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Technology.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'm very sorry. You know what? Power went off in my house, so I lost internet for a minute. Can you hear me now?
Yes, no problem. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. And if it goes
All
off,
right.
please just continue with the discussion. You know, someone
Okay.
take over, and all of
No
you become
problem.
the
Yeah. We
all
understand.
of you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Promise me that all of you will just become the, what do you call it? The facilitators, you know, run with it, run with it. That's how life is. And the way I pray every morning when I'm running training, the one thing I tell God, please, God, please, 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 let there be no power fluctuations there where I am. You can see my screen?
Yes. No
Oh,
problem. It
fantastic.
was a quick one. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. So we were saying that resolving problems collaboratively is not very complicated. The leaders need to have experience as well as patience. It will take a while for all involved members to feel comfortable, isn't it? And yesterday we said it's very hard to speak truth to power. Nobody tells the king that they are naked, and patience is what people need. People need patience 10 times more than anything else at the workplace. And I see that, and sometimes I empathize and I look and say, everybody is so rushed to beat deadlines. Everybody is so rushed to beat the targets and the objectives. You know, this is it. It's just a very highly pressurized environment. And what happens in that in that space is that people can become short-tempered at a while. No, it's not working. It needs to work. It needs to go to market. We are late in cutting out this project. The board is calling for these board papers. They are not ready. I look at them. You've just given me the board papers 2 days before, and they are not complete. They have too many errors. And you know what? People can get impatient. But as leaders, we need to exercise a lot of restraint around being impatient. How can we exercise patience at our place of work? What techniques can we use to exercise patience at our place of work? Because it's the one thing that it really lacks. especially in a highly pressurized environment. Anyone?
This is Janet.
Yeah.
One of the techniques that organizations should use is maybe listening skills. Yeah. Because you'll find that sometimes our staff are talking to us, but you're not listening. And if you could embrace that, it is easy to actually get an onward joint approach on handling issues.
Exactly. Strong listening skills. Many of us don't listen. We tower over people with our discussions. We are the jury, magistrate, the jailer, the everyone, you know, everything we know, and we've decided that's how it's going to be. Listening skills, very important. Another technique. Listening skills. Someone else?
To be empathetic.
To be empathetic, yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah, to understand and put yourself in the shoes of another. Because we are very quick to judge and to conclude that, you know, this guy has a problem and to solve it. But first to understand the situation and put yourself maybe in the same situation to at least feel, you know, so that we know where the person is coming from. And of course, that listening skill comes in there. Because I think we are very quick to judge and then we dismiss the person even before listening.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, very quick to judge, very quick to make sure that we've already made a decision, but we need to be very cognizant of the fact that empathy will continue being a strong attribute at the place of work, and we need to practice it more, and then we'll become more patient. Someone else? Another technique?
I think creating an environment whereby, like open door policy, where you give people room to express themselves, that will build a good relationship between the leader or the supervisor, the line manager, and the employee, so that in case of any issues, they're free to even come and sit down with you and express themselves.
Yeah, very true. That we need to have an open door policy. But you know, many people, they just say, well, we have an open door policy, and this open door policy, this is what it means. I keep on saying open door policy is where the leaders go to the people. And as much as possible, even in the large canteen, you know, come down at lunch hour when it's really bustling and everything, sit at a table, you know. That's the only way people will know that really you're a leader. And even when you sit at those tables, you just have to exercise emotional intelligence around the topic that you're going to choose for a discussion. You know, start with the weather, start with the food is really nice. I really today got my meal, you know, today I love what they have served for lunch, you know, and people just come and say, boss amekuja, takuja kutuliza targets ziko wapi, you know. So that's unfortunately, that's how also it's hard to be in leadership, but still when you start and people see you are genuinely interested in them, then they open up and they feel more at ease with you. Members involved feel comfortable. Yeah. Another technique that we can use from a technical perspective. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yeah. So we'll also be able to look at, you should also be able to look at your strategy being simple, like what we said yesterday, and making sure that everybody understands their role and responsibility, understand the targets of the organization, understand the deadlines, and we have a standardized way of doing things in the organization. If we say that when I get an email that is addressed to me, I should be able to respond to you within 48 hours, let it be before 48 hours. I will not respond to the CEO's email within 20 minutes, and the janitor who's asking me to make my trip to go to Isiolo, I'm just thinking, I'm going next week, where are they asking me now? You know, and I'm rushing them on the Friday evening and we are going on Monday. You get what I mean? So we need to make sure that standardization is there within the organization and we follow it and we follow it through. You know, if the CEO can also say, well, Catherine, I sent you an email and you haven't come back to me. And I will say, well, I have seen it. I am working on it. And I know that I still got until tomorrow to come back to you. And thank you for reminding me. I will, it's definitely on my to-do list. You know, something like that. We need to be able to have those kind of conversations and standardization and across boards. Sometimes you don't have them and sometimes you think that more people are more important than the others. No, it is the responsibility that you have might be more critical to the organization compared to the other position that the other person holds. But all of us are important in this organization. Otherwise, we would not be there. Okay. Any question there? Any question? Collaborative approaches, you know, yeah. Problem solving, it's just a straight line, but we need to make sure that we do what? We look at everything that is in the organization, the people, the customers, the business, the emotions of the people, the behaviors and the social aspect, and then make sure that we are doing that here. Plans for CPS, we read for us. You know me by now. Plans for collaborative approach to problem solving. Someone read for us, please, just the way it is.
When the task completed deviates from the objective to be achieved, we need a plan. CPS has 3 options for how to respond to problem solving. Let us call them as plan A, B, and C.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So let's look at those. What is plan A? When a task completed deviates from the objectives to be achieved. So what has happened is that we have not met the objectives of what we should have been achieving. And there comes in a big, big problem. So problem solving techniques in a collaborative way. So, so someone read for us, please. Someone read that for us.
Okay, I can try. Plan A is very popular because we have good expectations from the team members. Even though it is popular, it causes challenging behavior. The team leaders impose their will upon the trainees, a skill that the trainees lack. By pursuing Plan A, the possibilities of challenging ideas from different members are high.
Very true. Thank you very much for reading it for us. I'm trying. Oh, sorry. Okay. So Plan A is a very popular one because someone wants to summarize that for us. So that's a scenario where we were supposed to complete and we say Plan A, we are assuming that Plan A is very popular because it has very good expectations from the team member. Even though it is popular, it causes challenging behavior. The team leaders impose their will upon the trainees, a skill that the trainees lack by pursuing Plan A. So there is a leader, they're the people who should have done the job, but they're not able to do it. So you see, this is the leader imposing what should have been done. So the leader is expecting these two to have known what, call them Mary and John. Mary and John should have known what to do. But unfortunately, the poor people are trainees and they're just thinking the guy did not tell us what to do. Let us look at Plan B. In Plan B, Plan B involves 4 basic steps. Someone can read for us from here.
Plan B involves. Okay, go ahead.
Julius, Sabrina, anyone? Go ahead, Juvie.
Plan B involves 4 basic steps. Brainstorming solutions and sharing views together with the leaders and trainees. Right or left or down. Identifying and sharing the leader's concern about the same issue. Working of the trainee and the leader together to assess potential solutions and choosing one that is both realistic, mutually satisfactory, effective, and efficient. Identifying and understanding the trainee's concern and opinion about the problem.
Okay, so can you look at plan A and can you look at plan B? What happened in plan A? The leader imposed, isn't it? In plan B, what happened? The leader involved the trainees. Plan C? Someone read for us plan C.
Plan C is strategic in nature. All issues can't be solved at once, and all objectives can't be achieved at the same time. Plan C prioritizes the tasks and works which should be accomplished first by putting some problems or unmet expectations on the back burner, while addressing issues that are of higher priority. Some challenging behaviors are reduced.
Fantastic. Okay. So if you were a leader and if you were working in this organization and we were trying to build collaboration, which would be your best plan of action? When is it plan A? Is it plan B? Or is it plan C? In your opinion?
B.
B, okay.
I'm saying B, but at a certain point I was saying a mixture of B and C. But
A mixture of B, okay. Depending on?
No, I was saying B is good for collaboration, but at a certain point you need to mix B and C.
Okay,
after
great.
Involving people.
Okay, great. Someone else?
Me too. Okay, my first choice is B. But then again, C is prioritizing. Although let me say B. Let me say B because if everybody is in the same picture, maybe even those hurdles will be easier at whichever point it comes.
Okay, great. Okay, so it's incremental, it's progressive. Someone else? Someone else between A, B, and C? And does A have any space at the workplace anymore? Do we feel that this still has any place at the workplace?
It is not ideal, but still there are some people who are following this approach.
Not ideal, and there are some people who are still following this approach. Someone else? Which is the best plan in terms of collaboration, in terms of looking at a task that was not done well, and we really need to understand what did not go well and how to resolve that issue. Someone else? Patrick, Lucy, I'm just speaking from the participants I can see. Benjamin, yeah, the 20 of us here, please feel free to unmute and share your experience. So we definitely need a blend between plan B and plan C. Some things are easy. Some problem solving in the organization are very easy. They are no-brainer. We sit down, we are all together, and we make sure that we are together and we've made a joint decision. As we go higher, some plans in the organization will need of a strategic nature and will need in-depth discussion around how do we make sure that we are breaking it down in compartments that are easy to handle and easy to achieve. Because if it is a big project, we are saying that by the first quarter, we should be here. By the second quarter, we should be here, you know, and just making sure that we are putting in the right teams and the right people to be able to execute the job so that we know that this person is responsible for this. So just making sure that priority in terms of prioritizing that is done. So at a higher level, you might need plan C, strategic nature of our organization. This is where we are. But every day solution lies here. We agree? Everyday solution lies here, where everybody is involved and we give the opportunity for us to have a discussion. And as we go higher, behaviors, challenges of where we are at a strategic nature need to be looked at, and putting some problems and expectations at the back burner while addressing issues that are of a higher priority. Some challenging behaviors are reduced. So important for us to be able to look into that. Any question? You know, everybody says, oh, please put my task in the front burner. Oh, and you tell them, oh, it's in the back burner. I'm bringing it next week to the front burner. A very popular way of doing that. Yeah. Okay. Wicked problem solving. Many programs present complex problems that are difficult to resolve, but some throw up truly wicked problems that project management professionals find absolutely impossible to task. I mean, project management professionals is anyone who's working on a project. So it's not just my career as a project manager. Anybody can be a project manager if you're working on a project that needs to be executed. These wicked problems are often difficult to define and are informed from excuse me, please, by a web of conflicting views from many team members, typically from across organizations and boundaries. We call them wicked problem solving. Anybody who can think of a real complex problem that we can call it wicked, and you see wicked is in quotes. You have a real wicked problem at our place of work right now. What would it be? Many programs present complex problems that are difficult to resolve. These wicked problems are often difficult to define and are informed by a web of conflicting views. What are these problems? Can we think of an example? There are many examples. And sometimes they can have some politics around it, some sweeteners, you know, politics around it, complex, you know. What would be a really one that is conflicting views? And around especially sharing of resources, or where should this department sit, you know, where should this project be handled from, you know, people jostling their muscles and really wanting it. Conflicting views from many team members. Anything that you have come across? Let's try and discuss that. Come on, unmute. No matter how simple it could be, if you think it's simple, there's nothing simple. You don't have to think of really, don't think too complex, too whatever. Just think of a wicked problem. Wicked is so wicked. Wicked is what it is. Anyone? Anyone? Have a web of conflicting views. When do we have conflicting views? Even let's just say a project of job evaluation. How emotive is that project in the organization as HR people? Conflicting views. My job, you know, because people think my job has been downgraded from grade 12 to grade 13. No. And my job has stayed in the same grade. After all this, no, it can't be. These people don't know what they want to do. You get what I mean? So complex problems where people have different conflicting views. What should we do under such circumstances where you're trying to make sure that it's above board, it is transparent, and it's clear? I'm sure you've all been involved in maybe not I shouldn't assume like that, or maybe you've had or been involved or even been the head of a job evaluation exercise in your organization, or even your job has been evaluated or your department's jobs have been evaluated and you are not very happy with the outcome. That was a wicked problem that you are having. Anyone? How can we resolve those kind of issues?
Hi, Catherine.
Hello.
Yeah, I want to speak for the first time.
Oh, welcome.
I was slightly late,
yeah.
but this morning I was up and about at the right time. Now, I'm looking at a situation like where we talk of, of course, HR people use different words, downsizing, retrenchment, whatever. That's one area which I think really presents quite opposing views. There are those, whenever that decision perhaps is made, they may focus on the low cadre staff, and a majority of them, maybe they want to cut on employee costs. There are those who hold the view that why not just chop off a few directors and the whole bill will come down, that kind of thing. Sometimes it involves like maybe you throw out, you get an opportunity to have somebody you have always never liked to be out of the organization. Issues really around that. I think it is one of the most political things personally I've come across in my working life. For the job evaluation, it's a good thing. The only thing, of course, is when we do reforms and kind of consolidate positions, downgrade some, upgrade others. And by the look of things, you wonder, I mean, how could we have that person sitting there as the director? How could we have that as a directorate? And it's not even comparable to maybe a different one, issues around there. So those are the two areas I find people really obtaining different and conflicting positions.
Yeah, and it's I like that. Thanks very much for just highlighting that. Complex issues in HR, trying to please the system, and of course the system is made up of people. It's extremely difficult, and I keep on saying real HR work comes when we have to do these exercises that touch on people's jobs, because the spotlight is on you. People are watching you. Even if you are to get an external consultant to come and do it, it's always, people think it's shrouded in so much mystery. And not all of us can sit in that committee, even if how good this representative, this committee is. And we have strong collaboration in the organization. There will still be mamas on the corridors. There will still be mamas. It becomes, because it touches on people. I keep on saying job evaluations and looking at people in the organization, it's the same as owning land in this country when you're trying to buy land. Very emotive, stuff like that. Someone has come and built on your land, so there's always a joke around it and stuff like that. But conflicting opinions, different opinions, even if we called everybody to a town hall meeting and said, this is where we are, this is where we are, and they ask all the hard questions, we answer them in the most simplistic manner, they will still go to the coffee pot and say, namlisikia vile walisemao, hii department yetu yote wanataka kutu downgrade. And we didn't say that. We say jobs might not remain at the same level they were. Some jobs will be downgraded. Some jobs will fizzle out of the system. Some jobs, and we are doing everything possible to do that. So anyway, welcome. That's when the rubber has met the road for HR people. So it's important. And it's also a very good exercise, especially if it is done well and there's a lot of objectivity and there's a lot of support from high level. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else who would like to? Wicked problems, we call it a wicked problem because everybody is trying to just adjust. People have different views. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, so solving wicked problems includes 3 key features: a commitment to engage team members, judgment based on both qualitative and quantitative and qualitative techniques, focus on results and benefits, isn't it? And this is what we really want, you know, a commitment to engage team members, but it's very difficult to engage team members who have conflicting views because they're just thinking, after all, my whatever is not going to be met. And sometimes we say democracy, a majority have their say, minority have their say. Unfortunately, that's how it's going to be. It's just like us saying, let's put up a survey out there. Then because you think that you are doing it for HR and if you are doing it for management, we only get a small representative of the people filling in the questionnaire. Let's say even 45%. And we expect 100% responses. And we encourage you and we say, well, the deadline has been extended by another 2 weeks. There's nobody. What happens? We close the questionnaire and we say 45. This is what the 45. And if you don't like it, you didn't get a chance to go and make your views known. So judgment based on qualitative and quantitative and qualitative is very easy because we have the facts and the figures, focus on the results and benefits. But the most difficult one around wicked problem solving is around this area of commitment to engage every team member. Because once you are fixated with your opinion and you decide that that is where I want to be and that is where I will stop, and I will not look at anybody else's point of view, you miss the bigger picture. So this is always the bigger one, to try and get people to change their views and their minds to look at, well, what's the greater good? And sometimes, well, when you finish it, you say it's never that serious, isn't it? So team members engage in a collaborative journey of consultation and engagement with wicked problems. They are in variable wide range of opinions and ideas on the nature of the problems and the right solutions. By bringing all the affected parties together, project managers can build a sense of shared ownership so that commitment to solutions and their delivery becomes much more likely. Bringing people together, again, collaborating and making sure that that is done. Are you facing a wicked problem at your place of work right now? Anyone who would like to share, and how we can try and help them? Would you like to share, or it's still in the cooking stage and you'll be able to, you're looking for engagement from team members, and I hope you can see how to try and solve it. Any question there? Okay. So what are some of the yes, okay.
I was just wondering, anyway, just for the sake of discussion, for job evaluation, because we may hear, okay, the company or the organization is conducting a job evaluation, and then the people, the members of staff or the employees, we don't know how this job evaluation is happening, and then at the end, maybe everybody is being interviewed depending on the process, and then in the end it has been concluded. But what about if, and then we don't know as such the procedure, how it took place, apart from, okay, I was interviewed. Maybe from the interview you get a glimpse of this job evaluation, but sometimes you are not even part of the interview, for example, and then the evaluation ended. What about if you inform the different departments. This is job evaluation. These are the members of the committee of this job evaluation. Then you inform the people of the criteria, how this evaluation is happening, the standard criteria for the evaluation. It depends on the complexity of the job, on the contribution to ROI, I don't know, so that we know how we are being evaluated. And I think it's part of this, engaging the team and putting the judgment based on qualitative and quantitative techniques, but making it known to the people so that we understand what's happening. We don't, we can reduce this murmuring, I was downgraded, but I know why I was downgraded. I know why I was upgraded. Something like that. I don't know. Of course, all these things we talk about is always easier said than done. And when it comes to the actual practice, actual work setting, there are so many challenges. But I don't know how we can bridge this gap. It was just running in my head as you were talking, so I wanted to just share.
Okay, yeah, okay. Anybody else who would have input in terms of making sure that a big exercise like job evaluation, which causes a lot of anxiety in the whole organization, is well managed? Anybody with experience of really having worked?
Catherine, but
Yeah.
my contribution on that, yeah. You see, that exercise she's talking about job evaluation. Most of the time, organizations do that with sometimes management do it with intentions in their head. Maybe they're aiming at moving some positions. So for me, like we're having it at the moment. And the best approach would be having even if it's being done from outside, you have all the stakeholders, especially the departmental holders, because they are the professionals in the field. And then also look at the kind of organization you are in. And then I don't know, I object to using one method of job evaluation because that is what is bringing up those things. If you can use maybe two, the point and something else, and then look at the average, I think it will be fair. I can feel what the lady is talking about a job evaluation. It's actually a wicked problem for me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your input. I like what you have said, whether we can use two tools, can it work? And we see what the average, whether we can, it gives us the same results, stuff like that. Yeah. Someone else who has done it or is doing it?
Okay, my input is during job evaluation from the initial stage, I know we've had a difficult time with that because initially we had consultants, PricewaterhouseCoopers. So we involved from each department, we involved particular people who are choosing a certain number to represent the department for that evaluation. Then after that, everything goes back to the consultants, then they give us the results. The problem is after giving us the results would get stuck with the management. Then finally, they just come and implement without involving people. But what works right now is it comes back to the department. We work as a team. We work on what we've been told to do, the evaluation. So people give their input, then as the representative, we go and sit with the management, then it goes to the people who are in the committee, sit with the consultants. After that, results come back. Again, it is made transparent to the staff. So this becomes a discussion. It's not that we are already at another level of another evaluation, but it's like people are building that faith. At least it's not satisfactory. People are still talking, but at least just giving people feedback, always giving people feedback feels like they're parts of the involvement of that job evaluation. Yeah.
Well, it's difficult to please everyone, but I think one of the most important thing is that what is the main objective of us having a job evaluation in an organization? Many things will inform that. Maybe the market has changed. you've merged a business, you bought a new business, there'll be many factors. Those factors, everybody must ascribe and believe that it is time for us to have a job evaluation. Having a job evaluation also means that we have thought critically from board level to management level that we're able to implement the results that will come as a result of the job evaluation, because it only leads to two things. We all know, I mean, it leads to a new grading structure in the organization and a new salary bands in the organization. Those are the two results that we get. And it means that if our salaries, we go out and benchmark in the market, and we used to pay a HR officer for discussion purposes here, 100,000, and the market shows that we need the entry level in our industry best practice is 150. If we don't have those kind of budgets, please don't start a job evaluation. I will stand up and say, all these factors held constant as the technical person, as HR. If we are not able to implement it, then it becomes very demotivating for people. And I think also from the very beginning, when we say, well, we are doing a job evaluation, we don't wake up and say 2 weeks from now, from the 1st of July, we'll be doing a job evaluation. No, it takes a good 6 months to start preparing people's minds, hearts, and bodies that we are doing a job evaluation. And there is no sinister motive that we want to lose some jobs. Some jobs will definitely become obsolete, but maybe some also new jobs will be created. And unfortunately, if they become obsolete, we will have to declare you redundant. Declaring you redundant means that we need to start paying you. And if there are 2 positions that everyone holds, then let's call you guys for an interview. We must set the right pace, and the tools that we use must be beyond testing and retesting and over-testing. The experts must sit there, and the experts must be objective. I'm sure we all know these things. But again, because it touches on people, it touches on people's livelihoods, the anxiety that it causes, and what is HR's roles? What is HR's role in allaying the anxiety of carrying out a job evaluation? If you strongly collaborate in your organization, even those people who have questions and they're not able to raise in the town hall meeting can still come and say, Catherine, allow me 5 minutes of your time in your office. There are things that I would like. And you should not say, but you had an opportunity to ask the questions at the town hall meeting. You remember empathy? The techniques that we have said around patience, understanding, so their organizations will continue to be complex. People will continue to have expectations. People are complex. And it's for us to know that wicked problem solving will lie with people who have the expertise to sort that problem. And one of them, like I like the fact that we're discussing the job evaluation because we are all very familiar with it. I'm not sure about using 2 tools to litmus your litmus your test, but if we have all the compensable factors in your job evaluation tool, whether you have developed it yourself internally, and there are many tools in the internet open, and all of them are almost the same, level of effort, education, I don't know what, all those things. Especially, and there are 7, we know the 7 compensable factors that cannot miss from a job evaluation. We all know them. So if you want to use those big ones like the HAY, you can use, I don't know, all those other ones, the Premise or whatever, all those ones, you'll have to buy them at a cost, but they should actually, if it was well put, everybody understands, then we're able to have a better result. The results is what everybody waits for. But the process is very important for us for continuous communication. This is where we are, call in the expert once in a while, tell us about this job, let's understand it, But again, confidentiality, people waiting for their salaries to be increased, people waiting for their jobs to be upgraded, it's difficult. But again, this is what we really want to make sure that there's commitment we can be having based on quantitative and qualitative, and we focus on the results and benefits. Let's sell the benefits in an organization. And again, when we think that we are not indispensable. Even your job can be asked. Your own job, you are there and it's asked in the job, whatever. We should be ready for anything, but we always hope for the best and we want the best for everyone. But if management is not doing it right, you should be brave enough to come and say, stop right there. I'm the expert. We hope we have those opportunities because we're able to collaborate and we're able to give feedback internally. Great, we can move on. That was a good discussion. Never easy. Callers will come and help you, whoever is doing a job evaluation. We'll not help you do the work, but help you with ideas and suggestions and maybe, help you when it's too hot on the file. Okay. So let's look at some of the collaboration tools that we can use. Someone read for us. There are things that we know. In fact, we'll just be passing them through. We've discussed. Anyone can unmute themselves, please. Anyone, please?
Collaborative tools are classified based on their level of functionality concerning collaboration and document managing capability. Tools can be grouped as follows. There's a group and file document handling. There's a computer conferencing, electronic meeting system, and electronic workspace.
Oh, fantastic. And these are things that we're using now. We've always used them. So what's a group and file document handling? Anyone you can take anyone? Computer conferencing tools that we can use for collaboration. Like right now we are using what? Which tool are we using right now?
Electronic meeting system.
Fantastic. Yeah, electronic meeting system. An example of computer conferencing. We are using these platforms all the time. Anyone? Filing, it's just the traditional filings where we have documents filed and kept away. If they're confidential information, they are securely stored, and computer conferencing, electronic. So we've really moved and we'll continue moving in the same direction. So someone can quickly read for us there.
Working with documents and handling files is the core functionality of this category. Employees have minimal access to these files, documents, because there is a high possibility for individual editing, documenting or managing files, and storing it in a central database. Contemporary work on documents can also be a part of a group document handling tool, in addition to basic communication capabilities, such as email, notification, and tweets.
Yeah, it's just what it is. You could also have, it could be physical files, it could be electronic files, where you have, let's say, a HRMS system in your organization and you have different levels. An employee can access their master file, but they cannot access the other person's file. You as HR, you can access all the files in the organization. The line manager or a division head can only access files for his department. You get what I mean? And let's say even my own master file, which I can access, I cannot, there are some areas which are grayed out, like I cannot go and, because your master file is linked to payroll, is linked to performance management. Once we close that performance management year and it's already been evaluated and calibrated, you cannot open it to add anything, because then it linked maybe to bonus, and we know that maybe you got an average of score of 3.4, and an average of 3.4 says that you can only get up to 10% of your annual bonus or whatever. If you got 3.5, it moves to 12%. So if you change, then it links to that file in the bonus file. You get what I mean? Also, maybe some things that is grayed out in terms of pay and in terms of currency. People are crazy. Have you seen people changing their pays? and in the system and stuff like that, because it's linked to payroll and whatever. So there's some restrictions within that tools for collaboration. Someone else, computer conferencing, and maybe give us an example. Tools for collaboration. Someone read for us, please. Sorry.
Employees can work on each other's screen and work on documents simultaneously. Real-time text talk and meetings have become a reality because of computer conferencing. Files and documents are shared, and there is space for threaded meetings. Audio and video conferencing are quite common mode of communication.
Yes, that we can all work together. It's a project. I can see your screen, you can see my screen, we are working, change here, I'm changing here, and everything is put on shared drive. I'm sure you know about shared drive.
Is it
Electronic
like
meeting. Say that again?
Is it like Google Docs?
Yeah, Google Docs, yeah, shared drive, yeah. Very true. Someone else, electronic meeting system. Anyone? Just summarize for us.
Members of the meeting get notification through email or chat. Audio and video conferencing facilities are used as a tool for conducting real-time discussions. Participants can show and alternate PowerPoint presentations, share live software applications, and even work simultaneously on documents. Finally, meeting-centered activities support the meeting process, including its setup, maintenance of the agenda, and the distribution of the minutes after the meeting.
Exactly. It's so nice to know now that I can go back and say, I want to look at the board meetings for July last year. What was said there in terms of the HR agenda. I just go back and I don't have to go to the physical file and check for those documents. And I know in my calendar all the meetings that I need to attend this year. And I'm sure maybe you do that, for just ease of making sure that your calendar is properly booked. And when you look at people's calendars, you can know when to slot them for meetings. Like my calendar has constant 365, 12:30 to 1. You can't get me. That's it, unless it's a conference that I'm facilitating. If it's at the workplace, booked for lunch, and it says their lunch through and through. You need to do that. Otherwise people will just putting meetings for you, and you are not available. You never just stop. It never just stops. So it's important for you just to block off time, knowing that if they look for you at that time, they will not find you. Okay. And just the department meeting happens every last Thursday of the month. It's already booked the whole year. The board meetings are taking place at this time. The town hall meetings take place every month on a Monday. Book all those meetings, so that you are well prepared and the agenda beforehand, and the discussions and who will be taking lead. Do you remember where I said have it well before, so that you point out to people, you are an expert in this, you will be the one taking lead in that. I know that you have great points to contribute and you shy away from contributing in meetings. I want you to take that responsibility. Collaboration, very key in the workplace. Okay. The tools for collaboration. Electronic workplaces primarily provide a common space to coordinate and organize work of team members. Electronic workplaces is used to store data, solve problems through discussions, keep a to-do list, and various other information. There are workspaces for different teams, and individuals may be members of several workspaces. You can belong to many workspaces. A workspace like WhatsApp, it's a workspace. Telegram, you have a group of a workspace. So there are many workspaces for us to be able to collaborate and make sure that problems solved through discussions pretty quickly and first. So that's some of the tools that you can use to quickly collaborate at the workplace. We have seen that most of them are electronic, digital, they are driven through technology. So it's important for us to know that organizations need to embrace technology as they go ahead, and some of the things within their strategy is to enhancing and strengthening their digital spaces for ease of collaboration. I'm sure even now we came up with all these fancy tools, meeting on Teams, meeting on Zoom, meeting on Google Hangouts. We have all these tools to check whether people are being productive, logging in, and just make sure that that data can be stored to also inform policy review and update. So it's not just, we're not just saying that, well, how many hours did you spend on this task? We want to see what is important for the organization as well. Do you remember where we say results and benefits? Always think about results and benefits. What will it come out to be when we have all these data? How do we analyze it, and how do we make sure that it's actually looking at making us more progressive and more successful as an organization? Any question there? Any question there? Collaboration tools, and I'm sure you. ARC's collaboration management models. Let's look at some models. Someone to read for us, please. Someone who has not read, someone who's been very quiet behind the scenes, listening and soaking it all in. ARC. Collaborative management models. Someone read for us, please. Just read what it is there. Okay. Anyone can read, even if you've read before.
Okay, let me read. All the complex interactions, applications, collaborations, and processes that an enterprise holds are streamlined through ARC's collaborative management model. First, three intersecting axes. The heart of the CMM model is used in describing all the processes in an enterprise. CMM is the framework for organizing, establishing, and controlling the key business processes of an enterprise. It maps existing conditions and the migration path for progress. In other words, it aligns manufacturing IT investments with their business strategy.
Okay. So thanks. So a model is a model. And these are some of the technical aspects of this webinar. So I would like us to really pay a little bit of more attention, because you want to go out with technical knowledge of some of the things within collaborative management. So what is a model? A model is a framework that acts as a guide, and for us to be able to execute the job that is ahead of it, or ahead of us, or being able to make sure that we have processes in place for us to be able to do that. So one of them is the ARC, AXA Collaborative Management Model. So how are people affected under this ARC model? Someone read for us. A model is a framework for us to be able to execute the job. Yeah. Someone read for us.
ARC has found out that all companies are struggling with these questions. One, how can we leverage our existing technology to realize real measurable financial savings? Two, where can we get the best return on investment when implementing new innovations? Three, how do we get the broader team aligned as an agent for significant positive change?
Yeah, because this ARC model, it's actually a framework for organizing, establishing, and controlling the key business processes of an enterprise. You know, the collaborative management model, and it maps existing conditions and the migration path for progress. In other words, it aligns manufacturing, IT investments with other business strategies. So, and every organization, not just in manufacturing, will actually look at, if we are using this ARC model, how can we leverage on our existing technology? The tools that we have actually discussed and many more. You know, people have really elaborate ERPs, and your ERPs should not be complex. If you're using SAP, is SAP SAP, that ERP, is it serving you well? If you're using NetSuite, an Oracle-based platform, is it serving you well? If you're using Sage, is it serving you well? The government use IFMIS, is it serving you well, really? Where can we get the best return when implementing new innovations? Questions that we all need to think about, and don't just leave these things for top management. Even you as HR in your department, how do we get the broader team aligned as an agent for significant positive change when people are interacting with the systems that you have in the organization? Okay, so people want simple processes. People want easy to use tools. You know, when you log in, I don't have to navigate too much, don't hide information beyond part 3, part 4, part 5. I'm still not getting, like even today, check out your website. Check on your organization website. From a HR perspective, look at where your values are, where your mission is, where your strategy is on your website. If I visit your website today, and then look at where your careers page is. Is it visible? Can I go and see well? And even if there are no open positions right now, what have you put in your careers page? How do we get the broader team aligned as an agent for significant positive change? When someone says, oh, I went to your website and unfortunately, oh, there are no jobs. I thought you guys had jobs, you know. And then what do people who say, oh, there are no vacancies right now? Can you tell a compelling story of how nice it is to work for this organization? Can you have different people telling that story and saying, putting it there, join our team. I work for XYZ, and this is what I'm very happy. I've been here for 5 years. What I love most about my company, what I love most about my job, what I love about most is the collaboration we have internally. Keywords, sweeteners. So watch out for upcoming positions. We don't have any at the moment, but we are always open and we are fair and equitable, something like that. So don't just leave it blank. There are no positions. You know, interest people so that they know that, well, this is what it means for me to work in this organization. So have different people having those conversations around your website. So just check your website, okay? So what are the benefits? Someone please mute so that there's less. Sabrina, please mute.
Go to microphone mode so that we can engage.
So who needs to mute?
Just listen, but
what are the benefits of CMM? The benefits of CMM are using CMM is not only helps in sharing information, but also operates in the context of a broader business process flow, workflow, foundation for manage. Who needs to mute? Okay, thank you. Thank you for muting. Foundation for managing business processes and operational performance is providing by applying CMM. The CMM model provides a starting point for a team to define their company's specific strategy and build consensus. The output is a credible plan with clear business benefits. Sounds technical, but it's a good thing. Okay, let's continue. ESSIM forum. Okay, another two. Someone read for us. Collection of all organization groups and individuals having an interest in the ESS initiative. Okay, let's look at the principles. Someone read for us. Then maybe.
The proposed principles that provide the foundation for the ESM collaborative planning model include the following: jurisdiction, inclusion, consensus, accountability, dispute resolution, network, learn by doing.
Learn by doing. So we're in the jurisdiction of, maybe jurisdiction could be Kenya, jurisdiction could be Kisumu, jurisdiction could be Nairobi. You know, we've identified jurisdiction. So inclusion or jurisdiction could also be all the other places that we work in, but we are one. And then inclusion. I remember one of our colleagues yesterday, we were saying that how do we make sure that the people in one airport and the people in another airport, that we can talk the same language, we can collaborate using the models that we can use, the ARC and the ESSM model. So jurisdiction, we all understand the jurisdictions that we belong to. We feel the inclusion is important and we feel included. We have consensus that we are all talking the same language. We decided that this is what's going to be happening and this is how it's going to be done and this is the time and this is the deadline and stuff like that. And then there is accountability. Catherine, you're accountable for this. Eunice, you're accountable for this. Sabrina, you're accountable for that. I'm talking about the people I can see on the panel. And then there's a mechanism for dispute resolution. Who is in charge of dispute resolution? Like what we have seen in this webinar, what we have been discussing. How do we resolve disputes and who is in charge? Who's in charge? Who's in charge of jurisdiction? It's all of us, isn't it? Of course, there'll be someone maybe who will chair, but remember that you need to ask for my opinion. You need to ask for the other person's opinion so that it's through consensus. You know, by the time we come to dispute should be very far-fetched. I don't know what we have done because we should be collaborating. Then the networks that we're using, you know, who are the networks, and we all learn by doing. Any question? The notes really elaborate very well on collaboration in these two models that we can see. A bit heavy, but very important for us to be able to look at them and define what they are. Okay. So we say the mandates, departments, agencies, and groups within the planning process are included using the integrated framework. Initiatives are open to all levels, your gender, age, cadre, religion, nobody feels left out. So here is a strong pillar for diversity, consensus, collaboration sensors, you know, everybody really understand what should be done. And then we shake hands and say, for sure, I have understood. Have you ever gone to a meeting and people say, yes, we all agree, and then they come out there and say, no? No, bila mesema hapana, mimi sikufurahia. What happens? And you didn't speak up at that meeting. You all come out, even at senior management, you all discuss, and then you go to the coffee pot and you start discussing that agenda and say, no, what would have happened around consensus? What would have happened around consensus? Why do people say things differently compared to what they, and they didn't speak at the meeting? What's the matter there?
What I've seen from my point of view, what I've seen happening, like
Yeah.
in where I am, where I work, people would not speak because of fear of being, you're always labeled. There are always consequences after that. So you would rather speak in low tones somewhere else, not in the main.
Yeah, not in the main. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
people are not confident.
Yeah, people are not confident.
Yeah, because we've had
yeah.
issues even in general meetings
Mhm.
where the people who used to talk a lot were taken to hardship areas.
Wow. They can
Yeah.
see actually there were consequences and they could see the consequences of what it was. So you'd rather just keep quiet and say, Naliwe liwa lawyer, terrible of what it is. Yeah. But that should not happen, especially if you're using collaboration, if you're using collaboration management to run your organization. Okay. I've seen a chat here from Dewey asking if we can take a short break. We feel that we needed to take a short break of 5 minutes. What do people feel? Or we go ahead? It's democracy, you remember. Leadership versus traditional leadership versus collaborative leadership. What do people feel? We take a 2 minutes break, 5 minutes break. It's
Let's
now
do
10, a 5 minutes break. So now it is 10:19, 10:20. We come back at 10:25.
Yes.
10:25. Okay,
Okay.
great. Yeah, sure. Thank you. 10:25. Enjoy your break. Grab your cup of coffee, do a health break. I'll see you guys shortly. I won't even put off my video. Just be here.
Yeah. The rain. Oh, you want to attend a meeting? There's a meeting there, lakini imeacha screen on. The agenda mainstreaming. Narudi. Mimi nimeacha tu on. Narudi. Maana niko kwa meeting nyingine pia. Narudi lakini. Narudi lakini. Ni vile na pia mimi niko kwa meeting nyingine sikutaka. Weza tumia nini? Either utumie hiyo nini nimeweka hapa mawingu alafu usikie loud. Hey, it's in the last. If you can either hear from here ama uingoe ukivuta utasikia loud. Sema. Wambaigwa. Hauna pesa yangu yote? Okay. Amenda? Hiyo baridi. Umeingia kwa ile miti? Ya Jen? Oh. Siko online. Mi nimeacha tu screen ikiwa on lakini because I was in another meeting and it's not done. Hii saizi itaenda mpaka almost 12. Kulikuwa hata zilikuwa hata ilituma kwa nini?
Sabrina.
Yes. Yes.
Kindly mute.
Okay, guys, welcome back. I hope you had a good break and you're able to feel re-energized. It's a bit heavy in terms of getting through the models, but they're important. There are things that you can actually use at your place of work to make sure that you have a process and a framework in terms of collaboration, especially if you're doing a project. So we had started looking at the principles of ESS model of collaboration and the jurisdiction, the inclusion, make sure that you're looking at your diversity and inclusion programs and make sure that everybody feels included. And then the consensus, and it's what it is. We shake hands, we agree that this is what needs to be done and everybody's responsibility. And we also said, well, sometimes we discuss and people have different opinions when they go outside the door. But what happens is because we have still not built a strong pillar of collaboration at our place of work. So I encourage you to make sure that that is done. Okay, accountability. Members are accountable for specific results. Remember that results are extremely important and everybody is accountable. And for people to be accountable for specific results, we must make sure that they really understand the mandate that they need to do. And then they have the competencies and they have the skills to be able to do that. We must always make sure that we make people successful in what we set them out to do. Dispute resolution. A multi-level system is required for effective dispute resolution. And what we want to say is that people's perspectives, styles, interests, values, and institutional structures and processes really give us how I feel as an individual. You know, I look at with my own lenses, but disputes should be resolved as they can. And who's the person responsible for resolving disputes? Of course, it would be the team leader or the line manager, and I saw someone really rightfully saying that. But before even we get to dispute resolution, really we should be looking at all those other things that need to be done correctly so that we do not get ourselves in the area of dispute resolution. So, and everybody, even as the dispute is being resolved, everybody is being involved. It's not, oh, it's Catherine who did it, leave her there. She already did it. You know, you remember where we said that as much as possible, let's not punish, let's discipline, and discipline because it's a much softer way of making people appreciate as to why consequences are being applied to me. Why am I being given a warning letter? Really, I did, even me, I shouldn't have done that, and I should have known better, but I feel that it is fair. Okay, network, only through an efficient network participating to get opportunities for dialogue and consensus at several levels. You remember where yesterday we said, are you a collaborative leader using your networks? And networks could be internally or they could be external. Learning by doing. Several working groups developing an ecosystem where we say that some of the collaborative tools that we can use in organization are, what are we doing? We're actually learning through various tools. We are sharing information. And it's so easy because when all this information now is stored at a central place, then nobody can say that me in this organization, if I go, they can't function. I am the one who knows everything and where everything is. Yesterday, we talked about people who go on leave and we can't move because they have locked the drawer and they have gone with the information. And when they call, you call them, they will not answer your call. We have those kind of people still in this day and age. Do we have those kind of people in this day and age? Do we still have them? Yes or no?
Yes, Catherine, we still have some of those people, I think, who are about to retire. Let's say they have 5 to 6 years to retire, or those who are currently on retirement. Some of them still believe that without them, that particular function will not work. I think we have a case at hand. Somebody is on terminal leave, but still comes around to sign some work tickets or something like that.
That old generation of our parents, you know, me, I'm old, so those parents of 80 years and 70 years, they still do that. And it's true, by the way, we still have some people who, I think one of the things that we need to do and emphasize on and put it as one of our urgent to do task list is find out the aging analysis of our organization and who is about to retire and how we are preparing them for retire. It's unfair for someone who has worked in an organization for 40 years, having enjoyed their role, climbed through the ladder, and you give them a letter 6 months before retirement. It's true. It's in the policy. We'll give you 6 months. And by anyway, you should be knowing that you are due for retire. You remember empathy again, learning by doing, collaboration, you know, and start preparing 3 years before. And Buana John, Miss, whatever, we are very happy, but we know that the trainings are coming for retirement. Send them, not 6 months before. It's true, it's within the policy. We'll give you 6 months before your 60th birthday a notice of retirement, and that's why you need all these tools. I know many times is when I have seen discussions and someone missed the giving the notice in good time, and they're wondering, what do we do now? You know, how do we approach this person? So just make sure that your calendar of retirees are out there. So yeah, sometimes they can be difficult, but because then they're just thinking, what do I do after retirement? Have you guys thought about retirement? It's closer than we think. So just have those collaboration tools, people who had at giving information and passing information to others. Have champions not just the only ones, you know, your succession planning. How are you making learning working in your organization? What kind of models are you using to make sure that learning is taking place and one person would not sabotage your operations? That also leads me to think about critical positions. Having mapped out your critical positions and how many people are aware that I hold a critical position, and not just thinking, well, I'm very important, they can't let me go. They can let you go. You can also resign and get something else. But what are you doing to make sure that there is no gap? Because that is something that is so important to the organization in terms of running its business, so important as it is. Okay, so I'll leave representation and go to a collaborative system. The others are just the processes that you can use in using that model. And let's come to a collaborative system. Anybody with a question? Anybody with a question? Okay. So what is a system? What is a system? How can we define a system? What is a system? Our systems are simple. Our systems are complex. How would we define that? Anyone? Someone? Okay. A collaborative system is a data framework used to encourage proficiency, sharing of information, reports, records, data, and learning among groups and representatives in an organization. You know, a framework, you know, encourage sharing information, reports, and data and learning among people in an organization. I don't know, any one of you here who has set aside in the organization a time just for learning? A time just for learning in your organization? Anyone? You say Tuesday afternoon is a time for learning. Anyone? And what kind of learnings are those? Anyone? Or anyone in this forum who have a department maybe called, what are they called? It's not business development, where ideas are incubated and they are looked at and people just think through them whether they can help the organization. And most of the time I see people saying, please bring your brown bag, whether you have your lunch there for us or a sandwich, or for us to have a discussion around the table as we're having our lunch. Anyone? So how does learning happen at our workplaces? How is learning happening? Continuous learning. Please share. Are we happy with how it is happening? Someone please share. Because learning is a strong pillar for collaboration. Anyone? You must be learning somehow. Even like this, we are learning, isn't it? Anyone would be willing to share with us? Okay. I'm sure we'll go long and whatever. So collaboration.
Okay, let me share. Let me share what we do at Kenya Ports Authority. We are like in departments. For example, operational safety department. We have a program for learning that we at least engage employees and stakeholders at least quarterly. So it's like a program which is ongoing or every month or quarterly, which is done by specific sections based on that area of functions at that section. So it's a continuous program. Then we have now the major training school where we plan for the big training of the station of the organization. So, but it is not like we have on Friday or Saturday. but every section has its own training plan and program. Yeah,
okay, training plan. Yeah. Okay, that's good. So it can either be internal or it can be external, and training happens across board. Yeah, in terms of making sure that everybody is up to speed with the operations of the organization. Okay, well done. Someone else? Learning? Are we mentoring? Are we coaching internally?
Catherine, okay, can I go ahead?
Yes.
Well, we have what we call coffee in a gulp. This is a forum for lecturers at Strathmore University on Mondays at 7:45 a.m. for just about half an hour. It started, okay, there are webinars that go on consistently, but this is a meeting where we learn from any member of staff who has been chosen to speak on any topic. It could be on mentoring, it could be on art, it could be on, I don't know, even, how to, about book, how do you say, book reviews, could be anything under the sun. It's a coffee in a gulp because it's just morning hours. You just come with a cup of coffee. You don't, it's not recorded. We just, any member of staff who has some expertise in something, entrepreneurship, whatever. So every Monday, since, I don't know for how long now, it's nearly 1 year that has been going on.
And is it now being done virtually after COVID?
It is virtually. It is
virtual.
Yeah, by Zoom. Yeah.
Okay, wow, well done. Coffee in a Gulp. And I like the catch name. It's always makes it much better when you really have a catch name that is very, very intriguing, very exciting. People get more motivated to come. It's not just learning sessions on Mondays. Feel free to attend. I think that's very eye-catching. Yeah, well done. Yeah. So continuous, what we are trying to say is that one of the other things we can do in an organization is continuous learning. Make them fun, have a book club if people enjoy having a book club, maybe a music lesson, someone coming to learn about music, also people's hobbies. So it's not just about the business all the time. How about having a balance of people feeling that it's not just all about work, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. How about infusing some bit of interest and well-being to people's lives at the workplace, because that is where they spend most of their time. So I always encourage learning, mentoring, peer-to-peer, reverse mentoring as well, which is very common now, for us to be able to make sure that our framework and our systems are really working, and we can look back and say, well, we've really done well for many people, and that's why our retention is almost at 0%. Okay. So let's look at everything has a risk, and I keep on saying now it's the right time for every organization, for a HR practitioner, to make sure that they are looking at risk management for all the functions that they actually within their responsibility. So everything has a risk, and how do we make sure that we can be able to look at risk management to make sure that there are no liabilities to the organization? The likelihood, let me read, the likelihood that an undesirable episode happens to make any misfortune to an organization is known as risk. In collaborative risk management, the representatives over the organization team up flawlessly to decide and to oversee the chances on a standard way. So we know that there will be risks in an organization. Some are foreseen, some are not foreseen, and maybe a foreseen risk would be like what, for example? A foreseen risk in an organization, even in HR, take one, unforeseen risk. unresolvable episode. Anybody? An example?
It can be this coronavirus thing. This was unforeseen risk in nature that now people can work out of the office.
Unforeseen risk. Are their home safe? For example, will they trip? Will we pairs and stuff like that? Yes, unforeseen risk. And then maybe another unforeseen risk would be like we've been having maybe a disciplinary process for XYZ. We know without shadow of a doubt we have followed the process, and the last decision we have made as a business is to terminate this person's employment. And the vibe out there is that try and fire me from this job. We'll meet each other at the labor court. Unforeseen risks, even if you did everything, you know. So, but how do we make sure that we are mitigating these risks? You know, even sometimes when we collaborate with all the good intentions, something will definitely go wrong. Okay. Okay, collaborative risk management. Someone please read for us. Basic duties of collaborative risk management are as follows: 1, 2, 3.
Let me read. One, to elevate adherence to norms and best practices through consultancy and audit in design. But two, to ensure a level of confidence in stated technical approach, such that the time and cost estimated are not undermined by radical changes during the project delivery phase. Number three, to ensure clear, specific, and appropriate information is available to allow business execution teams to complete their planning with respect to their given time bounds and cost.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. So we need to just ensure that, and these are some of the things. It's just a recap of what we know, a recap of what needs to be done as people who work in an organization, whether we are taking a specific project that we are working on, or it's every day, some of the things that we do, which are so obvious, which are so simple, we become experts of it. You know, we should always think there is always a risk element. And even when you look at your framework of your HR framework, I'm sure you have a HR framework, and you have an annual plan on how you are going to execute your plan for the year. And then on top of that plan, you also have a Gantt chart showing that this is where we are in all these aspects that we are supposed to be achieving this year. At the end, you should have what are the possible risks that we should be having. That is something that you must introduce today if you don't have it. You know, risk management, you know, even as we are collaborating, there will be an element of risk. And what are we going to do about that risk? In your continuous business processes, which we all removed last year, whether they were gathering dust and whatever, trying to panel beat them and to accommodate the pandemic. Pandemic was a real unforeseen risk, you know, but how did we weather ourselves around it, you know, within this framework of elevating adherence to norms, standards through consultancy and audit and design? And there were a lot of discussions around that. Okay. Is that where we are? Okay. So the risk management life cycle of a product or a solution, the CRM approach suggests that hazard administrative work conjures within the whole life cycle of an item. In each of the stages, the CRM hazard work is fundamental in evaluating and addressing risks. So what we are trying to say is that whatever we are trying to address is actually the hazard that we have at hand, and how are we going to make sure that each and every stage, the hazard work is fundamental for evaluating and addressing the risk. So what could be, let's have a very practical example. What's a hazard? Let's unpack this. Let's unpack this one. Evaluating hazard at work is fundamental for evaluating and addressing a risk. Anyone, any kind of hazard that we think that we might be facing. Let's continue. Let's continue. Let's go on. Let's go on. Let's continue. Before we move to change management. Anyone? I'm waiting. Hazard. Even take a hazard in HR. Even take a hazard in HR. Let's move. Let's move. Let's move.
Can we say working conditions? Can
An
pose
example?
hazard?
Yeah.
Or yeah. Even now, as we have all this online or work at home, or work from home, there is hazard. Even we are just sitting at home. I mean, sitting as you are facilitating for us sitting as we are listening to you. There is hazard.
Yeah.
Of eye ache, back ache, I don't know.
I know, every
Yeah,
ache.
all this.
On that note, let me stand. Make sure you see me standing from time to time. Yeah, so hazards. So how do you address those risks? Because it's a risk to the business in terms of employee wellness. So under employee wellness, you see one of the hazards, and a hazard would be, you know,
a danger or a risk.
A danger, exactly, a risk. So how do you so fundamental for evaluating, and you've evaluated that risk: long sitting hours, too much exposure to the laptop from morning till evening, because then you have nowhere to go. In fact, if you have anywhere to go, is your kitchen, which has been overused the last 1 year. The kitchen has never seen so many people at any given time, you know. But in the office, you could go from one side to the other. You could be able to take a break and go to the boardroom, have a meeting with your colleague, you know. But now the hazard is here. So how do we address that risk in your column of your HR framework in the organization? How have you addressed that? One of them, through continuous learning, letting people know that we need to do what? We need to take a break from time to time. I know organizations where they have, say, 2020 rule must apply, where you have a 20-second, take a break for 20 minutes, refresh yourself, and take away a walk away from your workplace, you know, workstation at home, and do that. And also, actually, your computer starts shutting down after a certain number of hours, and it says it's time for you to take a break. Can you imagine? Deliberately making sure collaboration, when you think about it, you know, and just saying, well, of course you can power it back, but it's just reminding you it's time for you to take a break. Have you taken a break? You know, something like that, a pop-up and stuff like that. It pops up and say, have you taken a break? You might be in a meeting, so you're not able to take that break, but it reminds you, maybe after this meeting, let me take a break. If it's something like a seminar like this one, the way you said, well, let's take a 5 minutes break, something, collaboration at its best from yesterday till today. Is that okay? Yeah. Something else, things that we can do to collaborate. I'm going to the last phase of, those were just examples of change management. Anything that you would like to talk about risks and management in collaboration? Okay. So the only thing that we know is constant is change in life, you know, and there are many change models that we can use in organizations, but we know that change will always be here. change is important, and how do we make sure that we embrace change in the area of collaboration and collaborative management. Yeah, someone to unmute themselves and read for us. We are just coming to the very tail end of our webinar. Someone please read for us. Please.
Okay, change management is a process, an enterprise specialty of body of knowledge. The notion of change management as a process or task can be described as a double-edged sword. So the first stage is applied internally in the organization. It aims to implement new methods and systems more effectively within a company. Then the second edge is applied to the changes over which the company has little practice or no control.
Exactly, exactly. So the first one internally, the internal one is always, implement new ideas. We have a little bit of more control over. The second edge over which a company has little practice or no control. And no control would have been around the area. Just a good example would have been around the area of the pandemic. Very little control. It came in as a shocker for the whole world, and we needed to start making different plans and to see how change would happen. So is change good? What's your opinion about change on overall, broadly put?
Change is inevitable.
Change is inevitable, yeah. Yeah. And why are people so afraid of change?
Okay, change comes with a lot of disruption in your work life, personal life. Maybe there's a change in your job grade, your career, changes in maybe how you're used to doing things, especially if management is new. So there's anxiety that comes with change, and of course, the anxiety, I think, is fear of unknown, basically. Yeah,
true. The fear of the unknown, especially if it's abrupt change that you are not expecting what's going to happen now. Even if you have planned and it's time to cut over, there's still a bit of anxiety. Well, what if it doesn't work? I'm taking this new job and I don't know, I've left a very good employer. I have this opportunity to progress in my career. I have research, I feel it is good. And I am taking my letter for resignation today to my line manager, and let's see how it works, And you're just thinking, well, I'm serving notice now, and in a few months, I'll be going into a new job. And then you're just thinking, well, at the back of your mind, there's always this, I hope it works, I hope it works, I hope it works. But until we take those risks, we'll never be able to know and to know what awaits us ahead of us, and also what really potential that we have, as human beings. And that's the same of a business, because we have a business of selling biros. Like yesterday, we made that example. This biro is what keeps us all here, manufacturing these biros. And these biros are accepted in the market. But there's always that, it's people who drive the processes. It's people who do all this. People work with the models, people work with the P&Ls, people work with the system to make it work. But if that biro, if we wanted to now add a pencil, what kind of discussions would happen? That's a change, isn't it? On top of biros, because we are so good at making biros, how about now start making, someone suggests, I think we can also make pencils. What do you think first reaction would be? First people's reaction? What's the first people's reaction? We are very successful in making biros. Let's put up a new let's also increase our product offering. We have the machinery to be able, if it's making a biro, maybe it's just adjusting one setting or two on them in the factory, and maybe making a biro, or I don't know. It's not too complicated. How is that? How do we come about to make a drastic change in the products that we have? Think of that was your organization, that you are the owner of this company that makes biros and it's very successful. Would you agree? What informs you? How is the change process? How do we go through a change process in an organization? Even you can take a cue from here and just think about collaboration, think about external factors, internal factors.
Maybe you need first to explain why you want that change. Why are you changing from biros to pencil? Because if people don't know, of course they won't buy it. I mean, they won't buy the idea. They
Maybe people might not.
Maybe it's the market. I don't know. Explain the external environment, why it's needed. Maybe the customers are now preferring pencil than biros.
Yeah, they prefer pencils. So you've done all that due diligence. There's a lot of things that happen in the background. You've done due diligence. You have seen what your competitor is doing, what kind of pencils are fast moving in the market, or you have heard that the pencils in the market are not of the best quality. You have gone to other countries and asked for different types of pencils as samples and how they are done. I think there is a lot, but on the onset, so you can have the technical proposal very ready, but the people proposal is always the one that, oh yeah, some will say, yes, it's time to add pencils onto our line of business. Bring in the pencils, let's go. Pencils are always used each and every day. Then someone tells you, but only primary small children use pencils anymore. And how many small little children are there in this country compared to biros, which is used by anyone? You have that kind of discussion. And then someone says, no, but the guys who uses pencils, technical courses, the people who draw, they still draw, the architects and the draftsmen, and they still use pencils. Well, there's a big potential there and they need good quality pencils. Who else uses pencils? I can't remember else who uses pencils. Only little children, and who else?
Artists or
artists.
Architects. I don't know.
Exactly, architects, whatever. And yeah, artists, yes, they use pencils all the time. So someone says, yes, artists use pencils all the time. After all, even we have an artist club here. You remember on wellness, there are a couple of artists here. So you start building that, the prospects of change from a people's perspective. You have this, it can work. We have seen that we can break even in the second year of introducing this product, but you must let the people understand why the change is coming. We want a flat organization. What do you mean by a flat organization? And we are 100,000 people. How flat can it be? And we are all over the organization, and you come and say, well, technically, yes, the flat organization, maybe we are collapsing departments, 2 departments, we see that they do the same thing. We are going to stop one line and we're going, and people are looking at you. So change will always be there. So the change problem includes one or more divisions of a group, the entire enterprise, or one more aspects of the company's environment. The fundamental of the system required answers to the list of the 5 W's and 1 H. Who, and we all know this, who, what, why, when, and where, and when, and how. The following few examples can be used to formulate a specific question. Who from the company needs to be involved in the change? What exercise needs to be changed? Why do we need to change our ongoing practice? Where are the changes needed the most? When will the company consider implementation? how to change our traditional practices for better. These are some of the things, very specific in terms of saying, how do we want to go about through the change? But we cannot go through change if we don't collaborate. Even if we try, we have silos of when I want to collaborate. I collaborate when I feel like. From teamwork to collaboration, that is what we have seen. Incrementally making sure that we are deliberate in saying that collaboration every day. So when change comes, it is easy. When change comes in an area of job evaluation, it is easy for us to be able to ask the questions. We are not saying, oh, well, we don't know what's going to happen and things like that. So everybody feels that they are involved, and how to change our traditional practices for better and for us to be able to thrive in this organization. Okay, great. The process model for structured change program phase, and we all know this. Someone to read for us phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Very easy. Even in your own personal life, it's things that you can use. It's things that you can use. Someone please unmute yourself and read for us.
The process model is structured in 3 phases. Phase 1, creating the change foundation. It aligns leadership and business elements through customer-focused goals, sponsorships, and securing commitments and capabilities. Phase 2, designing the change plan. Its objective is to align the corporate mission with the change plan and determine the challenges. Phase 3, implementing the change plan through effective communication program and client management. It focuses on deploying the change.
Yeah, very true. So, and then of course we have a communication strategy, and that's a communication strategy when a big change is happening in an organization where there has been good collaboration through and through. Will just be like a walkthrough. We are saying, why do we need to change? Who will be head of this change? And have we really looked at a good communication plan so that everybody feels that it's communicated? It is simple. This is the person that I need to go to when I need any question answered. Okay. So communication process and strategy, and this is something that you can take back to your organization and try and implement, or even enhance your communication strategy and plan. Communication plays a key vital role in strategic, tactical, and personal levels in creating change. Communication is important to align employee and enterprise performance with business objectives, enable clients to understand and embrace change through education and persuasion, deliver specific notes on the change, the 5 Ws and the 1 H, support feedback, review, and interaction to ensure ownership and success, motivation to act, involve through a strong what is in it for me approach. To be effective and efficient, a change management team includes minimum 1 communication expert who is supported by the team of the other people who will be involved in this change. So involve through a strong what's in it for me. What is in it for me? In an organization, why do all people always talk about what is in it for me? Let's look at this one. What is in it for me? People always ask, okay, so what is in it for me? That phrase always comes out. Why? Why do we always ask what is in it for me? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it biased? Does it have a place in business? Does it have a place in business? What is in it for me? What is in it for me?
Yeah, I think, Catherine, I would like to react to that shortly.
Yeah.
Okay, usually when that question is asked, people are looking at maybe what are their needs and whether this new change is going to benefit them. That's the usual, way they look at it. But for me, I think it has the flip side, whereby we need to kind of understand what is in it for me in terms of how is it going to change the way I'm going to do things, how it's going to affect me negatively. There is also that part of it, which I think should form part of this question. So it needs to come out in both kind of ways. Because there are some people, for instance, who will look at a change. For example, if we are doing job evaluations, they position themselves, maybe they would like to have their functions upgraded and things like those. There are those ones who know now we are the usual culprits. I think in this case now we are even going to extinction or whatever it is. Yeah. So I think when you're asking the question, we need to look at both sides. But most importantly, let's see how, the positive side of it and really how we can, overcome the challenges of the change. That's the middle ground, really, to go around this. Yeah. But rarely people think positively, usually, except those who are in those committees and are driving the changes and hoping that, of course, at the end of it all, they stand to benefit. So it's normally on the benefit side of things. But I think we should also be able to ask it from the flip side and then see how it's going to affect us.
It's true, yeah. Especially if we have a strong collaboration culture, what is in it for me becomes a very valid question, like what you have just said. Very, very correct. And you've summarized it very well. I should be able to know the benefits and the disadvantages of me being being in this change process, whatever it is, whether it's the expert, whether it is a change that is going to affect me as a person, whether it's the change that is going to affect me in terms of my work, whether it's supposed to change the brand in this organization, which I'm so proud of, and then you're introducing another brand. I should be able to voice and express my opinion. And my opinion should be heard, and we should be able to deliberate on my opinion. So what is in it for me? Am I going to benefit? I think many at the time is when we need to change that narrative and encourage it to be discussed at the workplace, especially when we are going through changes. Whatever change, what is in it for me for this job evaluation? Me as an individual. So we always start with the organization. This is what it's going to be for the organization. But I work here, and my name is called Catherine. And my name is Catherine. And from there, this is the work that I do. So how is it going to affect me? And let's take time to address that question, what is in it for me? Especially if you have an open environment where people can challenge, and people challenge very well without having they can challenge with solutions, and they're able to add value to the process. Some people will just throw something into the fire. What is that business called? We say, you just throw fire and then you walk away, you leave it burning there. You complain, but you have no solution. Complain with saying, okay, fine, I see this as a concern, and how are we going to address that concern? This change is coming, but I seem not to understand it. Get me to understand. And then you ask questions, and then you say, well, have you considered this? Have you considered that? This change is not very good. I hear this change in the corridors. Listen to everybody's opinion, everybody's perspective, and you'll be more successful in implementing the change and crafting the strategy. So continuous communication, that is what people want. And being able to collaborate very well from the top to the bottom. And of course, again, it comes to like what we are discussing, what is in it for me, especially in a job. The two people who never ask questions, because we even never evaluate those jobs, are the jobs of the CEO and the job of the driver. We know that there'll always be or the office assistant, we know they'll always be the top and the bottom. So why waste our times there? But of course, even when they want to ask question, allow them, because they are actually represented in this exercise as well. Just taking an example of process and strategy in terms of communication around change in what is in it for me. Any question? Any question there before we go to the last one, which is conflict management? Any question? Okay. Allow me to, these are just change management and things that you can actually borrow from. So conflict, why do we have conflict? We have conflict all over. We have conflict in our political arena, in the country. We have conflicts at work. We have conflicts at family level, in the society level. What causes conflict?
I think because we have different interests.
We have different interests. Very true. I have different interests. I have, that's not what I
Because
want.
I want my own thing and then you want this other thing. So
it's true. Conflict arises right there from there. Someone else? Someone else? Conflict management? Where is there? Lots of conflict. Of course, we know that there are also conflicts around. It was so nice yesterday. We were able to resolve the airspaces of Kenya and Somalia. I mean, there was a conflict there where people say, don't, your planes stay there and stay here. But we were still able to travel. We have just a way of going around conflicts. Let the bigger people who see the conflict be able to resolve it here. So being able to just differences of what it is. International conflicts, regional conflicts, neighbor to neighbor border conflicts, at the workplaces, conflicts from one department to the other, conflicts within the department, difficult things that happen. So yeah, because we have different interests of where we are and what we want. And because the resources are also very scarce. Resources could be anything. Time is a resource, money is a resource, tools are resources, so conflicts do come along because of different interests and because of scarcity of resources. So conflict is a relationship among two people or more opposing parties based on actual or perceived. Sometimes it's real, actual, or perceived. This is my perception and you can't change it. Don't invalidate my feelings. Differences in needs, interests, and goals. Conflict is part of our professional, personal, and social life, and often required for the dynamics of change. So conflicts are not bad. It's only when we do not resolve the conflicts that they really become huge and they become ugly. Conflict management is challenging because of the following reasons. The origins of our conflicts are often complex and diverse. Multiple conflicts may go on at the same time, isn't it? What are two types of multiple conflicts in an organization? Conflicts are dynamic, ever-changing, and interactive social processes that are difficult to handle. Interactive. Conflicts at the workplace, so we don't have any. It's the last tail end. Let's changamka and get going in the area of conflict management, where we are, and how can we resolve conflict to ensure that we have better collaboration at the workplace. Origin of conflict, okay. So there are 5 major sources of conflicts, regardless of whether a conflict is seen as interpersonal, can be seen as interpersonal, intrapersonal, interorganizational, communal, or social. Who wants to read about relationship conflicts? I just don't like you. I looked at you and something just was off. Those are relationship conflicts and data conflicts. Someone read for us, please. Anyone can unmute themselves?
Relationship conflict occurs because of negative emotions, misunderstanding, misperceptions, and poor communication. Data conflicts occurs because of lack of necessary information to take good decisions, lack of proper training.
Yeah. So types of conflicts at the workplace. And then what causes conflicts? We already said that, interest conflicts, competition, structural conflicts caused by due of oppressive patterns of human relationships, and value conflicts caused because of perceived or actual compatibility, belief systems. My values and beliefs are totally different of, so we become not incompatible of between the two of us, okay? Or collaborative procedures for managing conflict. The last one, how would we do that? Someone read for us and maybe just summarize. Negotiation and mediation. And that is what actually even the courts are encouraging. If you take, if we take each other to court, as because then we are not able to resolve our conflicts, then we say, let's go to court. The court even is encouraging people, because of the backlog of cases and just to make it a better society, why don't you try negotiate out there and ask for an arbitrator or a mediator to be able to solve your conflicts, okay? So collaborative approaches in conflict management, these are two, and we should be able to encourage them. There are many. So there's one, there's negotiation, there's mediation, there's arbitration, there's adjudication. So just to make sure that we can actually try and not prolong the conflict and manage the conflict as it goes, because we are trying to collaborate, and all these are collaborative ways of bringing people to the table and trying to resolve the conflict. Are you in a position at your workplace to be able to solve the conflicts before they become big, as even before you call a third party to be able to do that? What would call for that? What would call for that is having strong collaborative systems in the organization and processes and procedures for collaboration between departments, between individuals, before it becomes too much. And when change is happening, everybody should be involved so that they understand what is happening before it becomes to whatever. Okay. So those are the 5 steps that we can use in collaborative conflict management. Someone would like to summarize for us? It's thus very simple in terms of what we should be doing. Develop a conflict management strategy, analyze the conflict, develop a conflict management strategy, inform the stakeholders about the strategy, and then establish ground rules for negotiation, and just make sure that you're civil to each other. Number 5, we come and say, explore the issues and the interests that really led us to this conflict. Number 6, if you can see it from these 3, specify the information needs. And number 7, prioritize the issues so that we go resolving them as they come and as they go about, And then moving on from number 7, generate options. Number 9, develop a criteria for evaluating those options. And we are all in this together. Evaluate the options. Number 11, reach an agreement. Number 10, develop a written agreement, because what is said must be recorded, because people do negate and come back and say, no, that is not what was said. And then number 13, approve the agreement. And number 14, implement the agreement. So that brings us to the end of our training for this week, for these 2 days, just looking at collaboration at its very best and what we have taken away. So I'll open this session to questions and answers around conflict management, change management, the models for for collaboration, the systems for collaboration, and all the other things that we discussed yesterday. And also maybe just your feedback in terms of your takeaways, what you're taking away. Was it useful for you? What do you think that you can implement at your place of work, at the marketplace, like what we like to say? Yeah. Yeah.
I was just wondering, you mentioned about reverse mentoring. I think I had a first-hand experience, but I'd like to hear more about it and how leaders are taking this, if actually it is taking place in the organization.
Reverse mentoring.
Because I think it's something new. Okay, maybe it's not, but from the perspective of the leader, it requires, that change of mindset. So subject of change. And maybe it's a conflict too. So yeah, I just want to hear more about it.
Thank you very much. Reverse mentoring. Anybody else? Maybe just before I summarize about reverse mentoring. Anybody who is who's come across it using?
Sorry, I will not comment on that, perhaps, but just a different issue.
Yeah.
For me, I was listening very carefully on the causes of conflicts, and I was trying to place issues like age. These days we have the so-called millennials. I think the other day I heard there's Generation Z, and of course they're all now. Let's say they're old and they are, working together. And sometimes there are issues around that because the focus seems to be kind of different. So that, I think that's a reality. It's an arena of conflict in the modern workplace, which perhaps we may need to have some skills on how to manage that, because these are two people of different generations who seem to see things differently. There could also be conflicts around the gender, maybe between male and female, feeling that, if I use a very awkward example, the finance manager should be a man, the HR should be a lady, those kind of things. And when you seem to see things differently, you kind of swap, then perhaps that could be an issue. So I don't know. I mean, of course, there could be issues around there, but it's just to know that issues can come up. We know, of course, like in this country, without mentioning communities, there are some communities which I hear have not proven, but I think the few instances I've had, it must be true, whereby they regard women and the children to be on one side and men on the other side. And whenever you have, I had a case of a supervisor, a lady supervisor who was supervising men from some of those communities. And sometimes the men will forget that this is a workplace. I mean, you cannot bring your traditional standings into the workplace and kind of feel you cannot take instructions. And it was quite very interesting, because I got interested to understand why is the conflict around this. Because the men behaving to other men, it was okay. But when the supervisor comes in, we thought the supervisor had issues until we got to know that was the kind of thing. So there could also be something around there. And of course, religion is also very critical. There could be issues around the differences depending on the religions of different people. Whereby, for example, we have the Muslims taking things like this, the Christian on the other side, and of course, whenever we are dealing with an issue, it can also bring a level of conflict. And I don't know where we can place something like negative attitudes. There are people who are just negative in many things, ever criticizing, never see anything good in anything, those kind of things. And of course, I'm sharing my comments and thoughts so that you can react to whichever you feel it is okay. Then there are issues of whereby you can have a supervisor who is a very, okay, let me, for lack of a better word, let me say a bad supervisor, this coupled with the toxic working environment, whereby when people are called for meetings, they just wait for the time to be over. They don't want even to contribute. So there are issues around there. So I don't know where we can place them within the conflict resolution prism, but I think there are some points we can be able to look at. Then the other different issue altogether is about the models. I saw, as you are passing through, something to do with the eSIM. You mentioned something eSIM and all that, and just quickly I picked it. It has something to do with the collaborations amongst the government, I think, departments, agencies, and that kind of thing. So I was just wondering, would it be something which can kind of inform the kind of collaborations we have, like between the ESCC, asset recovery, the police, the DCI, whatever? You know, I don't know. I'm just trying to see, is it something which can really inform the work of that kind of a collaboration? So those were my thoughts, and thank you very much. At least you have kept us going for the last 3 hours. It's not easy, so I want to commend you for that. Yeah, it's not easy, but at least you have kept up to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else before I take a wrap up and also ask people to contribute their experiences? You know, it's always nice to enrich these kind of discussions, not just from my perspective, what I know. Sometimes I just answer from what I know and what I have seen, you know, and I'm sure we all have different experiences around these kind of questions, which really border around collaboration at the workplace. And we all know that we spend a lot of hours at the workplace. And I know a survey of a company who has just said, do you want to come back and work from the office? They said no. 90% said no, I'm fine. The Zoom is working. I can see the people I want to see. I'm not interested in whatever. Some, yes, I would like a hybrid. And there's been the global survey of return to work. 65% of the employees said, no, I don't want to come to work. I'm happy. So is that informing us that we are not socially missing that social aspect of seeing our colleagues at the workplace? I would rather be in a safe space where I know this is where I want to be. It's okay. If I see once in a while, it's fine. It's just a job after all. So there are many things that HR people and CEOs and management is grappling with around collaboration and the real physical face-to-face, everybody being very, very at the workplace. You know, it's not just because I'm micromanaging you or something like that, but just to overall just touch on conflict management. Before it becomes a conflict, what have we done to inform the kind of organization that we have? Does everybody understand our culture, our values? Does everybody really connect with them? Are they deliberate part of our DNA? I keep on saying when that is broken, there's something, no matter how much we have a beautiful strategy, we will never be able to execute it, because we know that strategy, it's culture, it's strategy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and whatever, as much as it is good. Then the areas of diversity and inclusion, the 4 generations that we are working with at the workplace, the religion, the age, you know, different communities. We cannot be alive, you know, HRs now, we have that one. Is my organization regional represented? You know, do I have the face of Kenya in my workforce, in my work complement? So I think one of the things is that we should really have programs geared, and this can be done across broad, from working from the government, from the public sector, to NGOs, to corporates who are cutthroat for making money. The issues around culture training, diversity and inclusion, conscious bias should be things that are so well in tune from the time you join. Just saying this is how we are, because when we keep drumming them, you know, and we keep drumming them and giving them real life examples, we start thinking of, oh, wow, there are things that should be alive to, and also making sure that there are consequences around if we are not living our values. What are the consequences? And our values, if one of our values is integrity, for example, under there, make sure that you have examples and behaviors of how integrity should be lived. If one of our values is personal excellence, have we put it down and broken down in terms of values and people understand? Let's not be so, you know, fleeting in terms of saying, oh, we've defined them. Let's go further. And once in a while, the CEO coming and saying, let's talk our values today. What is so difficult? What are we challenging in? What are we being challenged through? What are some of the difficulties that we're doing? We must have open communication, and we must have it's a long journey, unfortunately. But, and again, even at department level of saying, well, Susan is head of the department, all the other people are male. How did we find ourselves all being male and one woman in the department? Deliberate again in terms of our hiring. You know, deliberate saying, now we've got 4 female in this department. How about infusing it with whatever, and make extra effort during recruitment of bringing in the most suitable people, but looking at gender. So some of these things we must go out of our way. The whole of this department is Kikuyus. We come here and everybody is speaking Kikuyu, and we know that very well we should not be speaking Kikuyu. What about now starting making sure that when we have an opportunity to transfer XYZ to another department and they are ready to do that, in a subtle way, we start doing that. When we are hiring, bringing another tribe in here, but we must be more deliberate from hiring to our culture, to diversity, for us to have those discussions. Consequences around that, having top discussions, you know, all those discussions that we can have. It's very difficult, I must say. It's not things that we can wish away. It's things that we must constantly have the whatever. These models, could they work between departments? It's only when everybody knows and together everybody understands and they are ready to work with them and they have the expertise and they have the resources to be able to do it. Only then will we be able to be able to work with them and also to see the success of them. And I would say that if you work in the civil service, everything really revolves around people because you're out to give a service. So some departments will collaborate more than the others. Some departments will collaborate more with the others compared with others. The ones that you closely collaborate with, let's say like say a department with the police and the DCI, do they speak the same language? For example, so those kind of, are we bringing together experts to be able to teach us on collaboration as a key factor for our success of work? We're talking the same language. When we appear to the public, we are talking the same language. We seem to be doing the same thing. Instead of us being known in the outside in the public that the left and the right does not know what we're doing. So it's a lot of effort, even in the organization. Before conflicts become conflicts, we should have really tried our best not to get there. So I think that is what I would say. Being very, every organization must craft a course on conscious bias because we remove all those prejudice, the stereotypes, we remove perceptions, and we start talking about the reality and who we are. You know, and I keep on saying, how would you like to be treated? If you don't want to be treated like that, then let's look at the culture. And if people do not ascribe to it, you know, I say, you're not a tree, start moving. It sounds bad, very bad. Oh, Catherine, you've just said that to finish a good training, you know, but there should be consequences. If people are not towing the line, you know, no matter how expert, what kind of expertise they bring into the organization, can we look at consequences of terminating the employment with us? Because if they are toxic, they're bringing negative vibe, they're the ones bringing a toxic culture in organization, then I think it is not fair for us to continue with them. Yeah, Daniel here, we need to have a session on conflict management, conscious bias. I think those are really good trainings for us to come and lay it bare in terms of what do we see. You know, you hear this community does this, you hear this women do this. Yeah, so that's fine. So the other one is the area of reverse mentoring, something that is very fashionable now, and it's the the people in the gig economy, the younger generation, like what has just been said by Kiptun. So where we come and say, I am younger, I have this expertise, especially in the area, you will see a lot of reverse mentoring in an environment which embraces collaboration, design thinking, critical thinking, and they have interactive working spaces. And we have seen some of the tools that we can use to be able to have great collaboration. And there they actually critique and say, I have research, I have seen, and in this, whatever, allow me to be the one taking up this project and running with it. So we have those great opportunities to be able to do that. But they're very, very, very good in IT and technology. So that is where we have a lot of reverse mentoring, especially the older generation, which really needs to navigate around the world of work, being very agile, being very creative, being very innovative, and they need to be carried through. So they actually act as their mentors in areas where I am more agile and I have better expertise to be able to bring it in. In fact, Judy, if you share your WhatsApp, I have a small clip on reverse mentoring by the Virgin Atlantic Group in the UK. What's his name? That guy, the CEO, the Richard Branson. Yeah, really nice one. Just to elaborate the 4 areas that are key in reverse mentoring. So I'm happy to do that. Okay. Any other question? Any other input? I know time has really run through. Let me just take down
shared my number in the chat.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else that thank you for all the feedback that is coming through. We really appreciate you coming through. And also Sarah 0702377705. Okay. Let me just share my number for you to. It's easier for me if you just send me a message and then I'm able to share it with you. Oh,
sure.
But I wanted it to many people. So how do I do that? Anyway, okay.
All panelists.
So any other? Yeah. So that brings us to the end of our webinar. I hope you all enjoyed it. And from then, thank you very much. I don't know whether you have any information, but I'll be able to say that we have the other HR bundle coming up on Monday and Tuesday. We hope to see you guys. I'll be facilitating it. And also we have the HR symposium coming in July. And we hope to see you in as well. It will be at the Naivasha Resort Hotel, a great place to have a conference. And I'm sure we'll get more information as the program is being developed and get to go from there. Okay. So for me, I really wish you a very good morning and a good day. And I hope to see you again next week. Thank you.
Okay. Catherine?
Yes, then.
Okay, maybe let me clarify. Dr. Kitone, how are you?
Fine, thank you, Ben. Thank you so much.
Karibu. And my name is Den, D for doll.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Okay, I have to leave. See you guys later.
So the clarification here is that the training next week will be on Tuesday and Wednesday. We shall be having building influence, how to influence people. And that training will answer some of the questions I've had towards the end of this training. Because now after collaboration, how do you build your influence in the organization so that by the end of the day, you're able to influence behavior and also to have the behavior that the collaboration or the collaborative management that you've set in place stick in the long run. Then on Thursday and Friday, we shall have performance management. That will be on Wednesday, 17th, and Friday, 18th. So I look forward to seeing all of you there. And I do wish you a very happy and blessed weekend. Until then, thank you and see you. Thank you.
See you all. It was nice interacting with you. Take away great collaborations and ask yourself whether you're a great collaborator. All the best. God bless you. Bye.